news break that is filtering in, and it's important in perspective of the debate that we're going to hold tonight, where Ajmer Darga now finds itself in a Mandir Masjid dispute. News break coming in on the Sambhal Mosque Committee. Viewers, the Sambhal Mosque Committee has moved the Supreme Court, seeking a stay on the survey at the Sambhal Mosque, of course, which resulted in riots in Uttar Pradesh, Sambhal. The committee says undue haste to hold survey. The AIMPL urges the Supreme Court intervention on the survey. They want a stay on the survey at the earliest. I want to connect right now to my colleague Anisha Mathur, who's joining us live. Anisha, what more can you add to this news break, especially if you put it in perspective, though it wasn't a written order, but an oral observation made by Justice Chandrachud, when the same issue in Gyanvapi was raised with the top court, and at that time he had stated finding the nature of the religious place not barred under 1991, the places of worship law.
Well, Preeti, clearly that has now come back to the Supreme Court, that very issue, because this petition that has been filed now says that there seems to be a pattern emerging of multiple petitions being filed to reclaim the masjids as mandirs in India. Now, this petition that has been filed says three things. One, that the city civil judge in Sambhal should not have passed an order for a survey without first having heard either the masjid committee or at least the state, neither of which was done. On the 19th, with the petition that came before the civil judge by the Hindu petitioners, immediately while notice was issued to the government and to the masjid committee, no hearing was conducted, but on the 19th itself, an advocate commissioner was appointed, and on the same date, a survey was conducted, and the second survey, which happened on the 24th morning, is what led to the violence that we've seen in Sambhal. Secondly, what it says is that this kind of petitions that are coming in has become a pattern. This is what they're saying. They're saying this, that petitions are being filed to reclaim what has been existing for more than 200 to 300 to 400 years. This particular monument that is currently under question is an ASI protected monument since the 1900s, in fact since 1904, and has been a mosque since the times of Babur. Now, of course, what the Hindu petitioners have said is that Babur was responsible, or at least one of his generals was responsible, for demolishing a temple at that time and then creating this masjid. What the Muslim side is saying, that is something that is barred under the 1991 Places of Worship Act. And that, Preeti, is where this entire debate is going to have to hinge in, because it is a larger issue now. What the committee is now asking the Supreme Court to do is pass stay orders, not just on the Sambhal matter, but to say that such automatic surveys should not be allowed to happen till the civil courts in all of these cases give time to the other side, which is the Muslim side, which is the masjid committees, the Muslim Personal Law Board and others, to actually respond.
Anisha, very quickly, so basically also this petition will hold that the lower courts don't actually rule on survey. So they are asking the lower courts, or the plea suggests that the lower courts should be forbidden from ruling in favor of such surveys. Number one, is the Supreme Court taking up the petition tomorrow?
Yes, the petition will be heard before the bench headed by Chief Justice Sanjeev, Khanna and Justice Sanjay Kumar tomorrow morning. We'll have to see how that plays out. Now remember, Preeti, just to clarify one thing, this petition is saying that the Supreme Court should bar civil courts from passing orders of surveys without having heard the other side, which basically means don't let any surveys happen unless you hear our side as well. Such ex parte orders, where the court has passed orders without hearing anybody else except for the petitioners, is against the law. That is what the committee is saying. Secondly, what the committee is saying, there was such hot haste in allowing this survey to happen, which has given rise to questions of bias in the eyes of the people who are there, which is what led to the protest on the 19th and on the 24th, and that protest is what led to the violence and loss of life. So this petition is also saying that this undue hate, that this undue haste is creating communal tensions in the country. Third thing, as I said, that this petition is saying is that the Supreme Court's intervention, and this is what also interesting because they've come directly to the Supreme Court instead of going to the High Court, which is usually the step, that this is happening because this is a pattern emerging in multiple cases. And as you just mentioned, Ajmer Darga is an issue we're looking at. We're looking at the Sambhal issue. We're looking at Kashi Vishwanath. We're looking at several other matters, including the Mehroli issue in Delhi. And this is something that has happened over the last 3 years after the Ayodhya verdict, which incidentally has also been cited in the petition filed by the Masjid Committee, which says that the Supreme Court in its Ayodhya verdict, while allowing the...
All right, okay, all right.